You're welcome back. Now, with banks collapsing, savings and loans companies folding up, and some financial institutions facing liquidity challenges, it's apt to say we are in a financial crisis. News of panic withdrawals at financial institutions is also worsening the situation. So how do we restore public confidence in financial institutions? Well, Director of Business Operations at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, is here for us to dig deeper into this issue. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. Now, so how is business treating you? You're a businessman. Tell me, given the climate we are in right now, how is business treating you?
Actually, to be honest with you, quite well. Now, what we have to realize is that the market is punishing the financial institutions that they perceive not to be prudent or in trouble, and actually simultaneously rewarding those that are supposedly or they perceive to be prudent and doing the right thing. So you will find that it's the best of times and the worst of times in the financial sector. If you are perceived as prudent, it could actually be the best of times.
I see.
And if you are perceived as
it's surprising you say that, you know, you can see it from two perspectives, either the best of times or the worst of times. But I mean, the general sentiment is that we are in a decline. I mean, the environment is not the best for us. It's making people tighten their belts, if you like. So how is it the best of times? Explain that first.
Okay, now what happens is this. For every financial institution, we're in competition for deposits. Right? Now what's happening is that a lot of the customers, the clients, are taking their deposits away from institutions that perceive to be risky and moving them to institutions that
are safer.
Aha.
Okay.
So if there's a divide.
Right.
If you're on the right side of the divide, the best of times. If you're on the wrong side of the divide, the worst of times.
Then let me ask you, a lot of customers are removing their deposits from the local banks. Would you say that they are now depositing it in the internationally based banks?
I would say two things. One, broadly, you're right. But at the same time, the local institutions that are perceived to be prudent are getting business.
Okay.
So you can't generalize it. There are some local institutions that are perceived to be prudent and doing the right thing. Those are also benefiting from the general sentiment. But yet, at the same time, I want to sound a strong note of caution. The glue that holds the financial system together is trust. That's what really keeps everybody together. Now, if you have a situation where that trust is broken, even though it may start at the edges and may start with the institutions that are perceived at risk, it could actually spread and become a general failure. So one of the things that we've got to do is immediately arrest the situation with the institutions that are facing a run on deposits.
Is that what government is doing right now? The measures that the Bank of Ghana, the central bank, is taking is aimed at addressing or arresting the situation at hand?
There are two sides to it. One side is that generally the central bank is addressing very broadly the issues that are with the banks that are either insolvent or badly run, etc. But we have to ask a question. Take UniCredit. For better or for worse, the central bank has not come out to say that they are insolvent. Right? If they haven't come out to say they are insolvent, shouldn't someone have anticipated that in view of their relationship with Unibank, that they were going to face this sort of pressure? And should stronger steps not have been taken to assist them with liquidity?
All these are very valid questions. Be that as it may, we are at the point we are at now. There are people who have panicked. They are withdrawing their monies from these local banks. How do we restore public confidence in these local financial institutions?
Listen, the first thing is you got to pay. Everybody who comes to withdraw his money has to be paid. You restore confidence.
But how do you pay them when you don't have the cash?
But that's why there's a central bank. And that's why the central bank has so much power to step in if things are going wrong. Right now, things are going wrong. And the first thing you do is start to pay the deposits. If it's X millions that UniCredit needs, send the money there.
So the central bank should be injecting more money into the system.
Definitely.
Okay, to arrest the situation. What about these small businesses, the savings and loans companies that we're seeing coming up? Many say that they are not properly regulated. Are they part of the problem?
Listen, the whole financial sector is sick. It starts with the banks, but you will find the same virus, the same illness infecting savings and loans, infecting rural banks, infecting non-bank financial institutions. So, listen, there's a malaise that affects, and this that affects the whole financial institution sector.
Right.
So right now, if there's a run, the central bank should step in.
Okay. So the financial system is sick. The panacea to that is to inject more cash into the system.
To arrest
the situation
the panic
at hand.
Withdrawal. It will cease to be a panic if you go and get your money. And if you hold your money for a couple of days and you see everybody goes and gets his money, what would happen?
How long do you think that it will take for us to get back on our feet?
It will take a long time.
And where long means what?
I would say at least a year.
At least a year.
At least a year. And one of the things also that should be done is those institutions that are deemed insolvent, action must be taken promptly. The more you drag this issue out, the more rumors and conjecture take place and panic people.
But the Bank of Ghana says it is taking action, but it is doing so within the remits of the law. It can't just, get up and just, slap sanctions or, prosecute those who have been sanctioned.
That's not what we're talking about. Mia.
Right.
What we're saying is that if an institution is not insolvent, step in early.
Okay.
Stop the run.
Okay.
Stop the rot. If you determine an institution is insolvent, take it over.
That will require them stepping up their supervisory role.
Definitely.
All right. All right.
Definitely. And you've got to realize that even those institutions that are not facing a run on deposits are feeling very uncomfortable with what is happening because that panic could spread easily.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time and for shedding some light on this particular issue. And I was speaking with Joe Jackson of Daylex Finance. Many thanks for your time once again, sir. And